I work as an emergency room nurse, and we get patients in daily that are detoxing or suicidal or drunk or high or whatnot. And I had one experience with one girl that was so broken, and it actually angered me in the way that she was being treated, that I finally just snapped and said, I'm you, and I understand where you are, and there's hope for you. My opportunity to stand as a witness was what actually solidified my own belief that this was possible. I'd been married for a year when I found out that my husband had an addiction to pornography, almost simultaneously finding out I was pregnant with my first child. That was kind of the beginning of a steady decline in my own self-worth. We just kind of started this snowball effect in the marriage where when things got hard, that was his out, and that was his way of coping, which then just made me more difficult to live with because I was so hurt and so devastated. And we had this cycle that at times got really, really ugly. I was pulling away, and I actually started using drinking at that point to cope. It was like my way to rebel against him. Everything he had done to me, he was opposed to me, obviously, to drinking, alcohol, anything like that. Once we got divorced, there's rock bottoms for people, and I had been at this place where I felt like, again, I let myself get angry. I felt like I'd done everything right, and I ended up a divorced mother of 4. Instead of doing what I should have done and turning to the Lord at that point, that's where my decline started. One afternoon, I went to lunch with my sister. We just got talking, and she said, you'd already been drinking when you got here. How often are you drinking? And I just said, every day. I'm drinking every day. And she's like, by yourself? You need to stop. And I told her I've tried, and I actually can't. She sat down with my parents and said, there's a problem here, and we need to do something. And it was the first anybody knew. There was pure love, and where do we go from here? Within about 4 hours, I was checked into detox. I understand just as a teeny little bit of what it means to have Christ-like love. Christ descended below all things so that he could comprehend all things. I suddenly have a comprehension for people who just need a little bit of love. And the opportunities to share that at work have grown exponentially. I want those patients. I sign up for those patients, and the first thing I tell them is, I've been there. I tell them how many days I have. I tell them that I'm going to these meetings. I tell them that it can be done. So there was that day with that girl. It was so powerful, standing there, seeing her, this broken woman, feeling all of the broken parts that she felt, and knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that I had to say something, that this was a moment that was given to me. That was the first time I shared my story at work, and I didn't care. I didn't care who heard me. I wanted that girl to know that she could do this. I needed her to know. That was my turning point. By sharing my absolute knowledge that God loved her, I was me. I was telling myself that he loved me.